G'day folks, welcome to this update for this campaign of 4 Blau. It's partway through turn 11 and Axis forces have captured Rostov and they've secured a bridgehead across the Don here, which is very important. It's a major river crossing. They've kind of gradually just shifted. The Russians couldn't hold every open hex across the Don River, and Axis forces managed to just creep their way across. And now that they're across, all these outnumbered Russians here need to start pulling back. The Germans are continue to drive east. So Stalingrad is just off the map to the east. You can see where all those little white markers are. The Soviets have started flipping the construction areas around Stalingrad into those fortified zones. My main concern is that the Russians have just lost so many forces. And they're at a point now where they try to pull back. So every time the Germans meet the Russian line, the Soviets just basically try to pull back. But all these Axis forces have far greater movement rates, and the Axis just focus on locking the Soviets into their zones of control. It then costs the Soviets 2 extra movement points to leave those zones of control. And when they've only got 6, that's half their movement just to move 1 hex away. And then they only get sort of 3 extra movement points to pull away. So they're desperately trying to retreat. They're just rarely able, as you can see in this situation here, they're rarely able to get far enough away, and you have situations like this where they get caught out and surrounded all too easily. So yeah, Russians are pulling all the way back beyond the Don River, and that'll be the next barrier for the Germans to overcome in the east, and they're already starting to overcome it down here in the south. There is a second barrier here, Niche River down here. That's going to be a little bit more difficult to cross, but there are fewer Soviet forces. So the Soviets around here are just going to pull right back. There are no kind of objectives out in this direction. So the Germans will try to cross over here as well. They'll begin to pull these forces around and down and look for a crossing along here. And thus far, the Soviets are holding there for now. But even with those river crossings, with the reductions in Axis attacker strength in crossing those major rivers, they're still managing to push back the Russians. You can see fairly weak Russian defences along the river. Again, because of just the mass of Russian casualties. It's a bit disturbing to see in the bottom right here just how many permanent losses in particular the Russians have suffered. Of course, they lost a lot along the front during that initial assault, but they keep losing stuff to these isolated pockets. Out in the north, everything's been pretty quiet along here. The Germans managed to push the Russians back across the Don River after they crossed over here, and Hungarians beginning to take over that sort of river defence to free up more of the mobile Axis divisions to shift around, which they've been doing for the last couple of turns. So yeah, we're kind of, that first stage of the Axis offensive is now complete, and they continue just hounding the Soviet forces, just picking them off, reducing them, hurting them, and they're about to kind of shift to the Caucasus region. They need to begin crossing the Don and driving to the south. And well, the Soviets are going to try to defend that, but like I said, they just don't have sufficient numbers down here, and I don't know. I'm a bit worried already about how that will go. So, as I said, it's turn 11. I've done a few little moves, but about to kick things off, and I'll report back soon.